And that's true, innovation. But why were they created? Why did they have to innovate these things? Why did they have to engineer? Why did they have to put these things into practice? Why did they do that? Day 4 was roles and responsibilities, hunter and gatherer, tools and weapons. All those things. Like everything we took, we loved it. We absolutely loved it. Before we killed it, yeah, we were killing something that we absolutely adored. Like nothing but connection, spiritual love. Like you imagine loving your pet as much as you love your brother, your sister, your mother. That's our relationship with all our animals. Well, that's our brother, that's our mother, we connect like that. And we go and take its life, you can imagine, you're not going to waste it. You know, you've taken its life, you're going to be thankful for everything it's provided us, therefore use everything. And if the things that you can't use, you make use of it. You know, the blood, the bones, you know. I guess the purpose of why we went with hunter and gatherer, tools and weapons, when we talk about roles and responsibilities, is that we get, over time we've been caught to put ourselves in a box where we separate, where we categorize our people to hunter, gatherer, men, women, and then we also get stuck in a position where our tools and our weapons, you know, there's men's tools and women's tools, and we get it, we segregate it, we separate it, where the mentality of our ancestors was not to have separation in our roles and our responsibilities. There was a lot of togetherness business, and so we put the question out to the group to basically get everyone's opinion on hunter and gatherer mentality, and what does that mean, and to learn to design or engineer or innovate our artifacts took a lot of thought. These things didn't get created from nothing.
Every site on the south coast, north of Shoalhaven River, up to Wollongong, all the chert from every of those places comes from one point. As Badgeries look at up the Shoalhaven River, up close to Marulan. Yeah, and so all the artifacts, that rock got traded to every single tribe north of Shoalhaven River, and they all used it. Then every site south of Shoalhaven River, all the chert, or the Seal Creek came from Bennelong Point down in Ardalla. That was the main quarry, and that's where they used to go out and trade everything from there. And so again, that rock, it needed to be traded. You need your neighbour, because so many people didn't have that mad rock to sit there and make the knives. There's only certain places where you can go to get the mad rocks to make axes as well.
Our people evolve with time, and our tools and our weapons, they all evolve with time. The designing on the boomerang, understanding rock formations and, you know, the compounds in rocks that make it harder and stronger, you know, things that make it flaky, or being able to get a sharp edge on it as opposed to rubbing it or chipping it. All of these things took a lot of thought, you know. So we again bring it back and we draw it in and say, think about how much energy our mob put into learning these things, and that's the energy we want to put into everything in life. So we make the connection there. And this is how we continue to evolve as a race, is that we are getting smarter as we go. The old mate old cars, like I said, the Adventor, lays on the $50 note, you know, he's clever as, like, he got smarter. He used new technology, old story, helped create the helicopter, helped create shearers, like, just took everything that he knew and put it in and give it everything he got. And this is what we ask for everybody. We ask us to remember our old people. That's why this revitalisation conversation is not about today, it's more about how important them old people were and how clever and smart and hard they worked, and now we transfer it. And then the day in the life of our old people, we went into basically putting our minds back before colonisation, and we had 6 boxes, and you drew basically like a little comic. Each picture represented a story or an event of that day. Were the old people lazy? You know, no. Did they wake up? What time do they wake up every day? With the sun. Why? Because all the animals are up, life's up. That's when we go. When they go to sleep, we went to sleep with the animals when they went to bed, nighttime. You know, so we start to draw in what is embedded in us for generations. We start to say, all right, well, let's start mimicking that. Let's get up at the sun, let's get up with the sun. Let's go up early. Let's be active all day. Let's know we've got things to do. And then when we're at the end of the day, let's go to sleep. And basically getting a routine is what we was trying to get out of that activity. And I reckon we had a good, there was a good outcome.
And then this guy's having a shower in the river, or or he could be fishing and whatnot. And then they're all around the campfire. Perfect. It's cold.
When you did the either fishing or either swimming or washing, that is exactly right. Where is he? Right here. When you soap him up, laddie, you lather it up, it takes the oxygen out of the water. So while you're sitting there washing yourself, the fish come unconscious, float to the top. So again, we know these things without even proper knowing them. So I was either fishing or having a wash. Lad was doing both if he was using this here.
Then walking strong, pride in appearance, and walking strong, acknowledging our ancestors. That's when we started then talking about how our old people loved the way that they looked. To us, that is an important, very important thing. They dyed their hair, they made jewelry, they brushed their hair. They actually took care of the way they looked because they wanted to look good. The hygiene was up. They wanted to care for each other. And we talked about that and again relate it to today. We've got to take pride in how we look when we walk out of this door. Before we leave home, we want to be tidy. We want to make sure your appearance and your hygiene is up, just like our ancestors had.
There's a thing called the Plato's Cave Theory as well. You don't care about what's going on in the world because you're too busy worrying about what's happening in your own world. It doesn't matter. But we need to have that pride in our appearance again, and that's just not trying to wear $1,000 clothes and wear that. It's just make sure you look the best you can.
And then we had a good conversation about Pemulwuy being, our freedom fighter, the first resistance in our country, on our country. And we went into, the life of Pemulwuy and how he stood up and fought off the British for 12 years, spears versus guns for 12 years. And he was doing such a great job until, the mentality of fighting moved away from fighting warriors and it went to fighting kids and then drew the men in.
For those that don't know, Pemulwuy, before Europeans came, he was lawman. He was the person, he was a shapeshifter, he was a magic man. If you mucked up, if you broke law, he's the lad you dealt with. So when the Europeans came, when they came and invaded, there was a man called John McIntyre. Now, John McIntyre was the governor's gamekeeper, which means he was responsible for providing the settlement with game, with meat and food. And so he was that going out trying to shoot wallabies and kangaroos. He used to actually sit down and trade with Pemulwuy. Because Pemulwuy was that person that the mob said, nah, you go, because we don't know these lads. And he goes, oh, don't worry, I'll go, because they don't muck with me. And he went and they used to trade. And then not so long after they started doing that, there's a place called Rushcutters Bay in Sydney, up near Rose Bay, real rich place now. That was a place where McIntyre and some of his the men were raping and murdering Aboriginal women and dumping their bodies there. Pemulwuy found out as his job to do the punishments. He used to get paid back. So he organised to meet up with McIntyre back at that meeting spot. McIntyre rocked up, the redcoat soldiers were there, their muskets. Pemulwuy rocked up with his spear. John McIntyre, when they met first, they all put their guns in the ground, but Pemulwuy lowered his spear onto his foot and kept his toes underneath it. And once they started arguing, sat there, Pemulwuy, McIntyre reached for his gun, Pemulwuy kicked the spear up, grabbed it, got him. This spear, as you can tell, it's designed to do damage. Not just damage, that's designed to kill. That's a death spear. These are designed not just to do that extra damage as they're going in and coming out, but they break off as well. There's people out there that we need to learn about, because once we hear that strength and that resilience, you go, that's my people, that's my mob. And then that makes us step up even more as well. So that's why we talked about, you got to know where you came from to know where you're going. So Pemulwuy is a man that everyone in Australia should know because he represented so much and sacrificed so much. And he's that person, again, like he's one of my idols. I look at like, I want to strive to be like that man, you know, and how like committed he was to his law, to his people and to his country.
We sort of left on a little bit, opened up a little bit of a conversation in that space, but then always turning it back and saying, all right, well, you know, let's take pride in ourselves. Let's actually stand up for one another. Let's make a stand and move forward together and continue this on the same page. So I guess the conversations that we had today were solid. And yeah, I guess the outcome worked out well. So we're looking forward to day 5 now and see how we go.